I'll spare you that. Okay.
Go for
it. Yeah, so just for our starting of our recording, we're basically here is various people in District 5000 to talk about how we can start recognizing and celebrating vocational service and our different professions in our Rotary clubs and help to support our Rotarians, present and future, in their various vocations and how they can better serve our community by being good, honest business people who aspire and work to respect the four-way test. So Leah, though, did a wonderful presentation that's being raved by everyone, and she did send us a little PowerPoint that we can put up on the screen, and if she can go ahead or control it between you and Benson, you folks can figure that out, and you can kind of tell us what you did. And then I'm going to look to everybody else for your input on ideas you've done, think about whatever, and then because then we can replay this or write this up and send it to our vocational chairs on all the different clubs into the future too. So we'll still make this a productive Zoom meeting.
Yeah. So Leah, you're set up to share screen if you want, or you sent it over to me. I've downloaded and I can run it for you if you want.
If you wouldn't mind, that would be
Okay.
helpful.
Right. I'll get it. Here we go right here. Okay.
Right.
Everybody see that?
Yep.
So, okay, so before we begin here with the presentation, a small disclaimer here. So I actually just got the message from Nancy for the presentation tonight, this morning, and I too have had COVID. I'm actually just on my first day of being back to normal. So if some of this doesn't make sense or it's a little rushed, just go with it. So, yeah, so just a quick introduction here. I'm the vocational chair for our club, and I was president last year. And I noticed, and that's one of those things, it's like there's things that you always wish you could have gone back and done. And that was one area that I knew was seriously lacking in our club. Vocational just didn't get much attention. I mean, we had members that presented on their business, and we did a couple simple things, but I strongly believe that by boosting vocational, it goes hand in hand with membership. So what I decided to do is pair with our membership chair, who's actually a newer member, but she's wonderful, and put together an event, because my personal history on Rotary is when I first moved to Maui, I didn't know anybody. And I actually joined a business networking group because one, I didn't know anybody. Two, I was the only person here on the island in my profession. So I thought it would be good to start meeting people. Well, one of the fellow Rotarians or fellow BNI members was a Rotarian, and he said, I really think you should take a look at Rotary. It fills a lot of gaps. One being it's a good way to meet people, and two is you get some great service opportunities, but three, it's a really nice way to build your business organically. So I thought I'd check it out, and of course the meeting I went to, we had this wonderful scholarship presentation. And the girl that was there was actually living in a tent, and she was finishing out her senior year. Anyways, long story short, I was suckered. I was in for good. So, but I was speaking with Nancy, and along the way, this morning, as I've actually now, I transitioned into the real estate career about 7 years ago. And I can look back and see that some of my largest transactions were all due in part to Rotarians. So that being said, I thought, all right, well, let's figure out a way that we can create an event to start bringing vocational understanding and just more sharing, a way to just share each other's businesses without asking for anything from anyone. That was the main thing, is I didn't want it to cost anything. We found sponsors, so there would be some food, there'd be something in it for them. But just a way for people to one, learn a little bit about Rotary, but also show them why Rotarians are so good to do business with. So I created the PowerPoint that we'll go through here. So I started first with, I invited several people and we put it out on all our social media, and then people that started to join, like some of these restaurants, put it out on their social media, which was pretty cool. So then you had multiple networks, and we put it out on a group called neighbors of, I think it's Neighbors of West Maui or something like that. And we started to find circles of people that we've never spoken to before. I mean, sometimes I feel like you're recruiting the same people to Rotary over and over and over. So this was a way that we actually started to run into some people that we've never met. So we just kind of put it out wherever. We made flyers, we blasted social media, we shared with other clubs. And it was funny because I think maybe it was Naomi that's like, oh yeah, you should have each president bring 10 members. And I'm thinking, this is not Oahu, this is Maui. Half the clubs barely have 10 members. And two, our space wasn't that big. We only had room for probably about 40 people. So we just shared it, and we invited some of the other clubs. And so this was the first flyer. So basically I introduced it and I just said, aloha and welcome on behalf of the Rotary Club of Lahaina Sunrise, Rotary District 5000. I'd like to thank you for joining us and excited to have you. And then I introduced our sponsors who provided a ton of food. So that's always good. Free food helps get people there. Benson, could you switch to the next slide?
I sure can.
So to start with, I thought I'd just tell them a little bit about Rotary. So I just kind of read the slide and I just said, what really brought us here? What is Rotary? And I kind of gave just a little brief snapshot of what we do in our communities. And then, from the Lahaina clubs alone, some of what we did. And then just kind of reference, but that's not really why we're here tonight. And then we went to the next slide, which is Benson. Could you switch to the next slide? Okay. So we kind of went through the 4 items here, and I just introduced it. Rotary also encourages members to network with their community and businesses. So I started with a 4-way test. I said, and I have some notes that you guys can use. And I read off there. I kind of went off script for a few of these things, but I explained with the 4-way test of the things we think say or do. So with that in mind, Rotarians generally form solid business relationships. 2, simple networking opportunities. And I just said, you can, and this is from Benson, straight from one of his presentations at our meeting, when he said, the best networking you do, you're shoulder to shoulder on the Christmas tree lot or at a beach cleanup. So it's whether you're a Rotarian or not, you're invited to any of our projects to always come and help out and network with us. So, and then there's flexibility in how each area can proceed. So I gave examples of so I'm more traditional, right? I'm in real estate. So I might reach out to one of our members does 3D tours, or we had a sponsor there that night that was a lender that I work with. But then I also use the example of how we had another member that was thinking about joining, and she is a Chinese herbalist. She practices Chinese herbal medicine, but we also have a general practitioner, and we have Annie Vance. She's our membership chair, and she's a psychotherapist and a counselor. So basically they form their own kind of symbiotic cohort there. And it was just a natural way for them to network with each other. So and I basically just said there's a lot of flexibility in how everybody can work together. And then so I just kind of introduced it from there and said we'd like that. Therefore we'd like to introduce you to our first networking networking event for West Maui. So and it's all on the slides. So, and then if you flip to the next one, and then basically I introduced, let's see, Okay, so this is the fourth slide. So welcome to the Rotary Business Fellowship. And I took this straight off one of the Rotary websites, and it was just how we all work together so basically, and Naomi said, go ahead and use this, because I guess she bought into this as a fellowship. So District 5000 does have the ability to use these logos. So I just explained, what's on the slide. So we created to encourage Rotarians to network among themselves and find ways to do business and support each other. So amplify their fellowship through association and strengthen other businesses in the community. So it's basically letting them know that by us working together, we not only support Rotary and it supports the clubs, but it also makes our members' businesses and outside businesses stronger. So, okay. And then next slide. So, and then so from there we had, I wish I had some pictures of the event I could share with you. They're on our Facebook page, but it was kind of like a long, narrow room, and we had all our sponsors set up on the side. So I had each of our sponsors do a quick introduction of their business. And then I was originally going to have each individual person stand up and introduce themselves. And I quickly realized we would be there all night and no one would get to eat any food. So that is in the script. I highly recommend cutting that part out. So, and other than that, I just said, so after they finished introducing themselves, I said, we'll open it up for networking. And then I had some door prizes for them at the end, so that when they came in, they got tickets. So if they stayed through the end, one of the prizes was like a $50 gift certificate that a title company had donated to a restaurant. And we had a couple other things. So people ended up staying almost all the way through. It was a pretty good turnout. So I made some jokes in there, and it was fun. It was a good presentation, but it was short. It was probably, 5 minutes of presentation maybe. And then it took a little longer for the sponsors to introduce themselves. And then we just opened it up, and it was amazing. People hung out, they had a good time, they ate. I got a ton of positive feedback. And even if we didn't recruit, we ended up solidifying one member, and then I have a few that I think are hemming and hawing about it. So I'll follow up with them eventually. I should be better at that, but work got crazy. So anyways, it's one of those things that you just keep working on. But we developed some really, really good community relationships from that. And I think, when it comes to needing some volunteers for projects and whatnot, I can easily reach out to any of these guys and see. So any questions?
So Leah, did any of that, so did that event translate into new members for Rotary?
For one for sure, yeah. We had one lady that had been to a meeting or two, and then she put her application in right after. So yeah. And there's one I should follow up with. So one of the concerns about joining our club was that, so where we meet, Pioneer Inn, has gotten kind of pricey for breakfast. So one of the ladies said, I'm really interested, but how much on a weekly basis are you spending? And the reality is we're spending almost $20 for breakfast, and then our happy dollars and whatnot. So I think I'll follow up with her, because I didn't even think about it at the time, but because people can attend via Zoom, now it's, you don't have to be present physically at every meeting. And then our club just switched to a grab and go, so it's not seated anymore. So you can bring your food or not. So it's significantly less expensive on a weekly basis now. So I'll try to reach out to her and see if she's got any interest.
Hey, Leah, I just have a couple of comments. I think it was a wonderful event when you bring two activities together. And I think, the real success, well, we got one new member out of it, which is a success in itself. But I think it's, the exposure that you were able to provide on what Rotary is and what, the Lahaina Club is involved in doing. I think it is priceless, and that's really what PI is all about. So the public does get to know what we're doing, and you never know, you could very well pick up members on second and third hand coming in. So I just wanted to applaud you for, taking it on. Great initiative. Turned out great. And with that, I've got to jump over to a 6 o'clock AG president's meeting. So thank you very, very much, Leah, and I look forward to seeing you on my next trip to Maui.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Randy. Yeah, I know that's a lot of people responded. There's so many Zoom meetings going on all the time. You could be on this all the time. Yeah.
Trust
Yeah.
me, I am.
You are. Yeah.
See you,
Okay.
everybody.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. No, Leah, that's really was excellent. I took a couple of extra notes too. Because I read after you sent me your script, your slides today, I read through them and I thought perfect, but obviously with the food there, of course we'd have some food, but that really made it special. And then I hadn't realized, and I used to do that for open houses, have these sponsors show up and stuff and provide extra services. So for a lot of the people interested, your sponsors might have calling cards and information. So it's a plus to them. And I find lots of those, you plant the seed now, and that sponsor may become your member in 6 months or a year from now or something, because again, if they start thinking of their own business support and they start to see Rotary supports business in a bigger way, because that's, like I said, my banker, my accountant, everybody's been my Rotarian in the past, that's who I go to. That's my number one call. If you're in Rotary, I'll give you my business. And I'm a property manager too. And trust me, I could give a lot of people some really big business sometimes with the magnitude of thousands of properties I manage. So it's been a fruitful, and I've told people, you leave my club, I'm taking my money to another bank. My arm is worth millions. So it's kept a few members in tow, but I think
one quick thing I will mention is that the way we got our sponsors is we just said we did not charge anything. A lot of people will charge sponsors for events. So we just said provide a poo-poo, and we had tables for them. So like our standard 6-foot table, and they could just set up at the event along the walls, right? Because we had a long, narrow room. So they set up along the walls, and then we had all the food in the center. And some of them had some food and snacks on their tables as well. But it was mostly just information. So that's all we said. And they all asked, well, how much is it to be a sponsor? I just said, just bring some poo-poos.
Yeah.
And we ended up with a freakish amount of food. So
yeah,
it was good. Like people went home with to-go bags. It was hilarious. But I think that actually really helped, was offering something for them just to come. And, I'm always surprised at how many people actually do move here on a regular basis, and they don't know anybody. Obviously I'm one of them. But they're looking for things, and especially if they're building their business, it's really hard to go to a networking event where they want to, it's $20 to get in, and it's this much for that and that, and then so they're not really sure, it just takes off some pressure to participate. So if you get the sponsors just to donate food, they're like, oh, well, we can't really lose there.
Yeah.
And so it works out pretty well.
Yeah, it took me a little bit to realize, and I saw it this morning and didn't think of it, that the guys on your bottom, of course, now I realize what KW means, Keller Williams Real Estate. And then you had a title company there, you had a moving company, and those guys, they show up at all kinds of those conventions and different things. And I know when real estate has them, they show up because they get business from real estate companies who bring in new people. And, so they have a whole team with that dog and pony show ready to go do these little things and give away cups and warmers and pot holders and, stress balls and all that stuff, ink pens. So that's a perfect thing. You didn't charge them to be there. A lot of times they have to pay and they have to contribute in big ways. So that's excellent.
And several of our sponsors were also restaurants, and they weren't even present. So we just mentioned it and said, hey, thank you. Thanks for dropping, a slider. And so, I mean, that worked out really well too. So, but that was really nice. And then I think one of the girls she was a manager at it's Mocha Roots, like a little local cafe. And the Noon Club had been courting her for some time. And she's like, well, I'm kind of in the process of joining, but I think that's solidified. So I think she did end up joining. And I wasn't about to like pull a member. I'm never gonna steal a member from somebody
Yeah.
else's club because I know how hard it is to get them. But I think that might have also helped. So same thing, we can help other clubs, even if it's not our own.
Right.
You know, because it's just all about where people are going to fit, whether it's their schedule or whatever.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's really excellent. Yeah, you plant the seed and then and you get the word out more, than that many more people understand. And I think Rotary's got such a good reputation that it'll attract that. You know, we were the XYZ social club. Those sponsor guys might not want to spend their time, but you're Rotary, and Rotary's got a really good reputation in the world. So it's a little easier to say that. I really, and on our club, we have one guy doing vocational. We got a little bit of a social kind of committee, and that's, you know, really doing a lot of things, but we've got a really strong membership committee and we're doing really well. But anyway, I won't gloat. but that would be something else. It could be a combination of who's got the strength in a club. And we did a membership social and we had about 40 people show up at the end of July, and we've gotten several members from that. And that was just membership social, you know, nothing to do with vocation at all. So I think we're really in timing to do another one and bring in that business aspect to it. Could be really a great thing for our community. And maybe work with our other clubs, you know, and then that way there we all kind of share in the harvest, so to speak. So David, you had your hand up? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, can I ask a question to
Yes.
Leah? How do you promote the event?
So we primarily used social media and flyers. Do you have it's a website called Neighbors? I think it's Neighbors. Hold on, let me look at something really fast. It's like a Facebook for neighborhoods. Let me check out something really one quick second here.
Is it called Nextdoor?
Nextdoor, yes, that's the one. That is the one. Okay. Oops, I lost you guys. Whoa, where'd you go?
We
Can
can still hear you and see you.
Okay. So you're behind a screen somewhere. Well, you can still see me, which is good. So I just can't see you, but yes. Anyways,
So you got a pretty good response from Nextdoor.
yes. So Nextdoor did really, really well. And then we also did really well on our Facebook site. Hello? Am I still here?
Yeah, you're here.
You're
Okay.
here. We can hear
This
you
is-
and see you.
Yeah, it's very odd because I don't know where you all are, but
Well, we see you. and
okay,
hear you.
okay. So, okay. All right. So yeah, we got a really good response from Nextdoor. We promoted it on our Facebook and Instagram, and then we had flyers up in a few of our businesses. I put the flyer up in my business as well. So, and then what else? We had some of those companies also share. And then, we did an email for the clubs here on Maui, inviting any of the other members from other clubs to come. And we had probably, I want to say, maybe 5 members come from other clubs, which was good. So, and they brought some people as well.
Good. Does anybody else we have any more questions of Leah? I've been trying to take notes too. That's really, really excellent input and a great idea. I love it. Virginia, question?
Not a question, but a comment. As an educator and someone who people comment to about Rotary on occasion, the word business, I think, gives people the idea that only people, you know, in a business like a bank, real estate, and so forth, are invited into Rotary. And so I wish there was a word that meant everyone working in the community. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I've been in clubs where there are a lot of nonprofit people involved. Certainly, I've been in clubs where educators were involved, university people, but there's a perception out there that that's not who Rotary is. And so in terms of vocation, I wish there was a way to broaden the definition, because I think we'd get more members and there would be more partnerships and opportunities for projects as well.
I would probably just refer to it as a networking event. So, I mean, and then use the example of how, like, I use the 3 doctors in our club, but you could use some other groups. Like, so you could use someone that was maybe a teacher or someone that was a nonprofit, or mix those together, but create a circle and then just call it a networking event. So
Yeah, depending on the size you want to attract and what you got going on, this might be something geared towards your business people, because it also, your sponsors were sort of into that with title company and real estate and that type of thing. And then you could have another one that Rotary does service, Rotary does business, Rotary does, environment, Rotary does, youth, we could take any of our basic platforms. And otherwise you could have the mega event, but then that's so hard. You got to really be organized for a big event if you think you're going to attract all people and address all of those different options. To be so organized as to every month have a social event that has a whole different title would be unbelievably great. Go club, go, but
there's so much value added from educators. There's so much value added from people in, just serving nonprofits and whatnot. So, I would highly recommend identifying that value and going with it. They're just as important as, like Nancy was saying, in our professions, we're going to refer someone on a regular basis. I think I spoke to 4 vendors today, but there's extraordinary value for us as a Rotary Club to have people that come from the educational standpoint and nonprofits. So I would definitely, go run with that, basically tell them how important they are. So, and that is key to a club.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring something up to see if anybody has been exposed to it, because I had a situation in our club where we used to have before Jimmy Souza passed away. I had 3 members of my club that were all in Rotary over 50 years. Jimmy was 60 years, so all over 50 years, and we were talking about membership one time as a group, and one of these guys stood up and said, we need to get back to the old Rotary where we're the elite of everybody, where we're the cream of the crop and only certain people can get in Rotary. You can't let anybody in the Rotary. He said that in a meeting, and we had one woman who was sitting next to me who quit our club on the spot, just because she just couldn't deal with that. Like what? He says, yeah, he says, when I started in Rotary 57 years ago, you had to be a bank manager or a business owner or somebody. You couldn't just walk in and be in Rotary. And so I said, wow, thank God it's different. It's different.
Yeah.
Today. So I've never heard anything like that in any club, at least in Hawaii, but I witnessed it in my club. So we wanted to.
I had it in my club and still do to a certain extent. And that's it's there. Yeah.
And just, now I'm not sure how, Nancy, how you guys are dealing with it, but we're continually saying, hey, the Rotary today is inclusive and it's welcoming and it's diverse and welcome everybody in it. But there's people in our club they don't buy that. In fact, they think the whole diversity, equity, and inclusion thing is just hogwash.
Well,
Right.
you know, they made the first mistake when they let me in January 1988 as the second woman, I guess, on this island, I found
Yeah.
out. So
Yeah.
yeah, that door, that door slammed shut a long time. The
Yeah.
horses out of the barn, so to speak, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. And the club has changed tremendously over those years. And that's how it was when I first came in, and when I was president 2 years ago. I got written comments from some of my old time members who had that same, you know, you're letting all these people in the club and you need to be, because somehow during the course of, and Rotary made a shift over these last 10, 15 years. And somehow that memo didn't really get to everybody. You know, they were still attending, the meetings were pleasant, da, 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 da. And although it was changing, they didn't see it because they liked the people they were dealing with. But I think with COVID, they didn't get to meet the people. So then on a Zoom meeting or somewhere, there's this new person in there. What do you mean they don't work anywhere? What do you mean they do, you know, shell collecting, or they're an artist that sells things at the farmer's market? What do you mean? You know, I mean, I had that kind of comment, and they didn't get to know them because we didn't do enough holding hands, you know, ringing bells together and during service projects to where you stood side by side and met people. And I think when it was slowly changing, they liked the people at a meeting. So they're okay. They're good people. It's okay. They don't need to have an executive job, but when you don't, and the old timers had a harder time with it, but it is the club that it is. And it ain't never going backwards, you know? So what are some of the other things you guys do though? Because we are tape recording this for other people. And Lynn, Goya, welcome. We have a really wonderful presentation that Leah did with that she had done in her Lahaina Sunset Club, and that'll be on our recorded Zoom, and you'll get a copy of that where she did a really great
Sunrise.
I'm sorry.
Sunrise.
Sunrise. Did I say sunset?
Yeah,
Sorry.
Sunset gets all the trophies.
Oh, well, I see you as a trophy. You're his trophy.
No.
So anyway, Lahaina Sunrise. So, but anyway, so welcome. Anyway, but I did want to, and I guess Ted's got to leave us. So sorry to lose you, Ted. And we're going to finish up here in a minute. But what else do some of your folks in your other clubs have you done over the years for vocational, you know, that have done things in the past that might be, you know, different things you've done that we could add to a list that we could make up for our vocational chairs who aren't present today?
Well, I know our club, and you know a lot of the guys in our club, Nancy, me, we've had stuff at, you know, Aloha Paws at the dog store. We've had stuff at you know, Iona car sales. We've had it at Creative Arts. We silkscreen t-shirts. I mean, so vocational's been actually pretty good, and we try to clip off one of those before COVID. We would do it once every quarter. You know, it will be somebody in our club would host it. So we had a pretty good variety of stuff, but I like Leah's idea of just, you know, making it a kind of open thing and inviting new people in, because, you know, I mean, you can't grow Rotary from inside Rotary, right? I mean, you gotta do outreach and get out there. And so I think we should probably get together, man, in Hilo, Virginia. I don't know what you think, but just do hey, welcome to Rotary, and have a big event and invite everybody in at, you know, music and just, I don't know, just mingle and do business stuff. I mean, if we want, so.
Yeah, it would be great. January is vocational month too. Not that we are vocational chairs on, but it's the new year is upon us. So it's a great time to be thinking. And again, we're planting the seed now for the future. Virginia.
I can stand in for Gioli in terms of our club and what we've been doing. We've been trying to go about once a month on a field trip to different businesses, and we have done 2 farms, both I call it the chocolate farm, and then last month we went to the vanilla farm, which was I highly recommend. They have a fabulous lunch, and everything on the menu has vanilla in it. And so field trips, I think, are really fun to do. When I was the school superintendent, I invited Rotary to have a lunch meeting in our boardroom. And it helps to see where other Rotarians work. And I would just, maybe I misinterpreted this, but I contend that Rotary includes professionals from all walks of life. And I certainly owe a debt to Rotary, because when I was a school principal and working on economic development in the area that had the highest crime rate in Anchorage, one of the suggestions was to start a service club, and it was Rotary. And so I know that Rotary can improve our communities through partnerships and through our projects. But I also know that many of those Rotarians were running all kinds of businesses and various kinds of work. And so when we talk about vocational, it's not just about business. It may have been, when Rotary was first established, but it's not that way now. And to be honest, I think if anyone said to me, we don't just invite, it's true, you have to come into Rotary by invitation, but it's not according to what kind of work you're doing. Because all work has value, and Rotary, some of the biggest contributors in Rotary, I find, have been the members who have the least to give. I've only had a hard time collecting money in general in Rotary clubs where there are just tons of wealthy people. I'm not talking about District 5000, present company excluded. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I think it would be good to continue this discussion about what vocational means. Oh, one other thing I wanted to say in terms of ideas is that part of vocational is increasing visibility of Rotary, and giving Rotarians a plaque, a framed page during vocational month that they can hang up in their business increases the visibility of Rotary. We were just at Volcano with some friends visiting, and Bob had on a Rotary baseball cap. And these visitors from Texas came up to us and introduced themselves because they were Rotarians from Texas. We don't have enough visibility for the people who are in Rotary here, in my opinion. I don't see too many business signs and businesses that I go on. So I'll be quiet.
No. Yeah. Way to represent, Nancy. Oh, you're muted.
I was coughing, so I muted myself. But no,
Yeah.
Virginia, we all agree. We're looking at everybody, and whether you're the teacher, are you kidding? Nonprofits is now big business. So it's not a matter of the old fashioned, doctor, lawyer, Indian chief. We want them all, so I think we all agree on that. Before I want to do in pretty quick here, but I love the idea of a plaque for every single member, a Rotary plaque in every single member's office or home or something, there again, that would be a really great way to have it be attractive enough front and center so they can, let people know that they're part of Rotary when they come into business now that businesses are open again, or your whatever, your office, your teachers, your classroom, whatever. It could be great on a classroom wall. So, and I heard about one of your field trips. So I want to get to the vanilla form myself now. So, but David, anything you guys have done in your club you want to share with us?
Sorry, no, we, excuse me.
You sound like me.
I'm kind of new at all of this. I've never been part of the board of directors or the leadership of our
Ah.
club. So I'm just beginning to learn a lot about Rotary,
Uh-huh.
and a lot of meetings and just learning and looking forward to me going to my pets conference the beginning of next year. Get
Yeah,
to
I'll be
know
there with you, David.
Yep, there you go. Benson's the
Yeah.
man, I'm telling you. He's been
Yeah.
putting on, I think these training sessions on Zoom are great. You got to pick and choose. Like
Yeah.
Leah and I both said, there's so many sometimes you can't come out. It's crazy. But again, I love it that they're recording and we'll have our own super library pretty soon.
Yeah.
Dario, what about you? Any ideas you want to share that your clubs over there in Kona have been doing for any type of vocational or exposure that way?
I don't have anything specific, but yeah, I do tend to patronize Rotary club members, doing business in the community. Like we have a doctor here, and I go to him for my, specific needs. We do have a lawyer here, and I go to him to, for my family. Trust planning, estate planning, things like that. So I do tend to patronize Rotarians in the area. So I think that fellowship, that supporting Rotary, supporting fellow business, businessmen.
Yeah,
It's a good idea. Yeah,
it's a great idea.
That's really what I would like to see here in West Hawaii. But as far as I can remember, I don't think that type of presentation that you did, Leah, that's a good one, and I would like to see that happen here on the west side also. Yeah.
Okay, good. I know I had a tooth pulled a month ago or so. In between, I was trying to hustle my dentist to join Rotary. How about Lynn? Welcome aboard. I know you didn't catch the great presentation Leah did, but any comments you'd like to make at this time? Oops, can't stay. Looks like Leah has to leave right now. Okay, well, we'll get you her presentation. It was great. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does anybody have an emblem of a Rotary plaque? That I know the Rotary has a wheel in the logo. Is there something that it's a sample of that you can put up in a business to?
Yeah, Virginia, you got something you want to try and email to us? Or I know they have them on, Russell Hampton has a whole lot of them. Or you could print your own paper one, provided the logos are approved, and then you can get a affordable frame for them.
If you go to the RI Brand Center,
Yes.
you can download a ton of logos.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, just go to the Brand Center on RI and they have everything you need.
Yeah.
Well, they have the logos. If anyone's interested, I can look back in my files. I think what we did was printed the 4-way test with the Rotary logo and something that gave the person's name and what club they were a member of. But the 4-way test is a nice thing to put up in a business.
Yeah. Excellent. One of the things I want to do, a really quick one, was in our club over the years, we've done things like, particularly our new members, we try and give them a 3-minute vocational minute or 3-minute vocational 3-minute talk and have them just do a really quickie, because that helps let us know more about them as individuals. We also do a printed emailed spotlight on them that includes sort of what they do. And it can, in that case, it can be the vocation, or they're not working, so it's their hobby, they're retired, whatever their thing is that they want to include, because sometimes you have a whole lot of expertise in your club that you don't realize you have. So here you are, you're going to work on something, and you've got somebody who had an entire profession, of doing something that skill type might really help us with something we've got planning coming up. And, you're over there planning in this, vacuum and not realizing you're a club member. So the more we share in that way, the better off we are. And Then, and sometimes if you're like a big club like us, you got to keep it at 3 minutes. So you might want an egg timer type thing. Boom, 3 minutes, hook off the stage, you know, because some guys get to talk in 15 like me. And then yeah, other times too, you know, so it sort of depends on, you know, like we're such a big club, we could do one a week and take us 2 years to have everybody talk. So, you know, you got to figure out who you're going to have talk and what have you. The other thing is when we go to share businesses, because we're a big club, we usually do it on the Friday meeting when Mary Monarch is in Hilo, because all the restaurants kick us out. They don't want our cars in their parking lot. They don't want us in their restaurants. They don't want 50 people showing up for lunch because they're too busy. So we don't do it in January when it's vacation month. We do it that Friday, and we'll pick 4 or 5 or 6 businesses, and they're prepared to have 10 people show up for lunch, and they sign up, and our business owners buys a bento or something, has them at their business. We've been to Creative Arts. I've been to Dodo Mortuary's unbelievably famous tour. I've done the Harbor. I've done Mauna Kea Mountain. I've done all of these different vocational places that our members work at, and then they host us, and the money usually goes to one of the charities or something. We all pay in $10 or $20 or something. So those have been really fun over the years, but we haven't ever done one as big as a whole field trip for the whole club, but that's something we could do if we really figured out the logistics. So I like those ideas. The other thing is too, inside Club Runner, it allows for us to put our vocation. Now, we were just talking because apparently not everybody has access to Club Runner like we used to about people's personal profiles. So that's something Connie and our club's going to look into. How did it get blocked in our club internally, or has it been blocked from outside? We don't know. So we're going to check. And that just came up today at our membership meeting. So we're going to find that out, because I'd love to be able to go in. I used to when I was president, but that was a couple of years ago, and know everybody's profession. But a lot of people don't put it in. They don't put their age in. So we're going to see. And then on the district level, you can pay $25 for the year to be in like this yellow pages as a business. And you can also list your business for free. So I might, as a property manager, Leah as a property manager, should want people, because a lot of people from Honolulu and wherever probably have a rental property in Lahaina, and they might go, great, a Rotarian, she can manage my rental over there because I know that other company, you know, and stuff. So that might be something we need to promote among our membership too. Again, knowledge of how we can help support each other it's there. Those tools are there. I just don't think our membership knows about them.
Yeah.
So I'll try and do a better job of getting that information out to everybody in some way, shape, or form. Okay.
One last thing I
Yes.
kind of forgot to add in that I did want to touch on really quick is, so often when you have people kind of looking for networking events, typically they're just getting started, and you know, often they're younger. So it's also a good way to bring in kind of younger members as well. So just to, I mean, not to be an ageist, but we do need some young blood in our club, because our fundraiser that's starting is actually a very physical fundraiser. When we do the Christmas trees, we need people to haul and lug them. So we need people that are young enough to do that. So that is one of the things that, you know, I think does help when you create something that attracts a younger individual for business or networking in general.
Yeah.
Is that you tend to recruit just a slightly younger population that will grow and develop in Rotary.
Yeah, excellent point. We're seeing that in our club too, to where when we're even doing our service projects, I said, make that service project a social. We always bring food anyway. Make sure you got the hot dogs. Make sure you say, bring your kids, you know, because we're lots of times we're at beach parks, cleanup and things.
Yeah.
So have it to where people can bring their spouse and bring their kids and make it kind of a combination. Because you don't have, I mean, yeah, when we only had the bank manager, because it was always back then, he didn't have to do babysitting on Saturday, you know? So I think we need to, in all of our events, do more recognition and making that an event that's family friendly. It totally affected me when I first joined, you know, that I had kids, little kids and stuff. So that was really hard back in the day. So I think family friendly, because of, again, we're inclusive. We want everybody. So excellent point. Thank you, Leah. Anyway, anybody else? we got time. I said till 7, but we don't need to let me talk that long.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, thank you all. Anything else? And otherwise we'll have this recorded. And then I think I said, I'm going to try and get some more ideas down and ways to how our district website and our club runners can help support people's profession in the club. Yeah.
I got a question also.
Okay.
Benson, can you do another session on fundraiser?
Yeah, sure. You know, when you go to David, when you go to Pets, I'm actually teaching the session in Pets on fundraising. So when you go there, I'm one of the electives you can sign up for. So you can sign up for that, but we can do as many of them as you want. We got some real fundraising pros in our district. Yeah, you're looking at one of them right next to me. But yeah, let's do another fundraiser because people always want to learn about fundraising. So I'll get that on the schedule, but David, at Pets, there'll be lots of information about fundraising. So
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
sign up for my course.
Quick question for our seasoned Rotarians here. Has anybody ever done a Seas Candy fundraiser?
No,
No?
No, not
that-
that I know, but yeah, they probably go.
wrote-
Anything it will work.
You
Okay.
can't buy, does anybody sell it in Hilo yet? I don't think so. I don't think it's sold anywhere in Hilo. You know, it's in Honolulu though, right?
Right.
Yeah, see, we used to not get Dunkin' Donuts over here, or Molokai Sweetbread or anything, so we've done those kind of fundraisers, yeah.
A Rotarian in California told me about it and I looked into it. And if you order over $500, they'll ship it all to you for free.
Wow.
You just have to have a 501c3.
Okay, well, most of us have that. We have that, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just a
okay.
thought. If anybody wants to play with it, I'd love to see how it goes.
But you can't let it melt. I take chocolates and everything to the mainland when I travel and I'm like crazy, then get over there, buy coolers, you know, keep the Big Island chocolate dip cookies from melting and stuff. So yeah, it adds to the stress, but most people do it for the, you know, the fun of it and the novelty of it. So yeah. Okay. Any other ideas?
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Great
Thank you so
session,
much.
gang.
Yeah,
Thank you very
Vincent, for
much.
putting this together. Leah, thank you so much, everybody attending. And we're just going to keep working on vocational and we'll